Hey students, welcome to the part 2 of the Human Reproduction series for class 10th. This is the part 2 of the series Human Reproduction, and I strongly advise, if you have not seen the part first video, first go through that, and after getting the concept of the related to the human reproduction, come to this part, the part 2, and we will be covering the following topics in this video. So we'll be covering in brief the information related to the female reproductive system, female reproductive system, and then right after that we'll be shifting to the no fertilization case. We'll definitely see the details of that no fertilization case. So let's get started. So first of all, we already know that the in case of female reproductive system, female reproductive system, the primary sex organ. Now what is the meaning of a primary sex organ? So the primary sex organ, which is related to the obviously female reproductive system, the primary sex organ is that organ, the primary sex organ is that organ which is responsible for the formation of gamete, and in case of female reproductive system, the gamete is known as ovum or simply egg. So what is the primary sex organ? So primary sex organ is that organ which deal with the process of formation of ovum, or it lead to the formation of a ovum or the egg. And one more thing, the primary sex organ is also responsible for the formation of a sex hormone. So it's also responsible for the formation of a hormone which in case of female is known as estrogen. Why not progesterone? We will definitely see in the upcoming slides, but for now, just remember this. What is a primary sex organ? A primary sex organ is that organ which is involved in the formation of a gamete, and in case of female it is the ovum, and a hormone which is the estrogen in case of female. So who does these function? So in case of female, the primary sex organ are known as ovaries or singular ovary. So now we are going to see the structure of an ovary and how the ovary is able to produce that ovum and the hormone estrogen, and we'll definitely see the function of estrogen. And in the last video, the part 1 of the reproductive system, we have seen the function of estrogen in brief. I just hope you remember that. Okay, so there are some points that we have studied in the previous lecture, that the process of ovum formation, the process of ovum production or ovum formation in case of human females starts as early as when the female is not born yet. So just imagine, a female human is not born yet and it is still inside her mother's womb, mother's uterus, and she started the process of formation of ovum by that age only. So it started before birth, and we have studied that in the last lecture, that after the birth the process of formation of ovum temporary arrest, it temporary stop, and we already know that the ovum or the egg is formed by the process called meiosis, and the process of ovum formation in case of female start before birth, and after birth, soon after birth, the process gets arrested and the process resumes again when the female reaches a certain age, and you already know that age is known as puberty age, and in case of females it is around 8 to 10 years, right? So now at the puberty age, how the process of formation of ovum takes place, that we will gonna see next. Okay, so in case of humans, the ovaries, in case of females, the ovary is present inside the body. So ovary is present inside the body, You're gonna ask, that's a very stupid question, that's a very stupid statement. Obviously, ovaries are present inside the body. But when we will study the male reproductive system, there we will see that the testes are located outside the body. Yes, in case of human males, the testes are located outside the body. But in case of human females, the ovaries are located inside the body. That's a very important question. That's a very important point that you should remember. Inside the ovary, or we can say that the ovaries are abdominal. Intra abdominal, that means they are present inside the abdomen or inside the body of the human female. Okay, and we already know that there's something called fallopian tube. There's something called fallopian tube, which is related with the female reproductive system. The ovaries are known as primary sex organ because it performs two functions, the formation of egg and the formation of hormone known as estrogen. But what are secondary sex organ? Other than the primary sex organ, that is ovary, all other structure related to the reproductive system are known as secondary sex organ. So obviously fallopian tube, which are responsible for the collection and transportation and fertilization of ovum, these fallopian tubes are secondary sex organ. So these fallopian tube are secondary sex organ. So let's get started. Let's just dive right into the structure of an ovary and how the process of formation of ovum takes place and how the structure of fallopian tube looks like. So ovaries are almond shaped and ovaries are present in pair in case of human female. So there are two ovaries. We're gonna study only one of them. So the structure of an ovary is like almond shape. So it's like almond shaped ovary, and there you are able to see the fallopian tube. So this structure is known as fallopian tube. Okay, so this structure is known as fallopian tube, and these hair like structure that you have studied in the ninth standard, like these structures are known as cilia because the ovum formed is non-motile. You already know the ovum formed by the female is a non-motile structure. It cannot move on its own. Hence, these hair like structures that are present inside the fallopian tube helps the ovum to move, right? So we're gonna see like how ovum is transported through the fallopian tube. But first thing first, this red structure that I have drawn over here is, this is the fallopian tube. We'll study the part of the fallopian tube in the separate video, but for now this structure that I have drawn over here is the fallopian tube, and below it we have the ovary, and ovary is an almond shaped structure. So let me mention over here is, so this structure is known as ovary, and ovary are present inside the body of a human female. So now just pay attention very closely. Inside this ovary there are many cells which has 46 chromosomes. We already know in the last lecture we have studied that each and every cell in case of human body are contains 46 chromosomes. How many chromosomes? Contains 46 chromosomes. And after the process of meiosis, which will be gonna see over here is, right? So meiosis process helps in the formation of ovum and helps in the formation of sperm in case of male, right? So here meiosis process will occur in a special types of cells, and these special types of cells are present inside the ovary. So these special types of cell that I'm drawing right over here is like these cells are known as oocytes. So these cells are known as oocytes. Very simple. These are those cells which help in the formation of ovum. So these cells which I'm drawing in the red over here is, these cells contains, each cell contains 46 chromosome in them, and these cells will undergo the process known as meiosis, and after meiosis they will gonna form what? Ovum, and ovum contains only 23 chromosomes, right? So these oocytes are the cells which are responsible for the formation of ovum. So ovary contains many oocytes, and each and every oocytes contains 46 chromosomes, right? And let me draw over here is one more structure that is very important right here, like I'm drawing it over here. So this you already know from the previous class, previous lecture. So this is the hypothalamus. The structure is hypothalamus, and below the hypothalamus there is pituitary. So this structure is brain. Hypothalamus is a part of brain, right? So this structure is hypothalamus, and below hypothalamus we have pituitary, right? So this structure is pituitary. Okay, let's get started. And one more thing, the ovary also contains other types of cells which are known as follicular cells, follicles. So these cells that I'm drawing over here is in the blue color. These are the cells again of the ovary, and these are known as follicular cells. Okay, very simple. So this structure right over, you are over seeing here, this structure you are seeing is, right, this is ovary. Inside the ovary there are many cells known as oocytes, and oocytes are responsible for the formation of ovum. So oocytes will undergo the process of meiosis. Only these cells will undergo the process of meiosis and lead to the formation of ovum. Other than the oocytes, their ovary also contains follicular cells. These follicular cells will not go under the meiotic division, but these cells will help in the process of formation of ovum. That will we see in just a minute. Okay, and apart from that, you are able to see here is hypothalamus, and below the hypothalamus pituitary gland is located. Okay, fine, let's get started. So from the hypothalamus, I think you remember that from the last class, a hormone is released, and from the hypothalamus the hormone is released and it reaches to the pituitary gland, and that hormone is known as GnRH. That hormone is known as GnRH. And from the pituitary gland, two hormones are released. One is known as FSH, and other hormone is known as LH. So these two hormones together will help in the formation of ovum. Let's see how. So first hormone released from the anterior pituitary was the FSH, and FSH stand for follicle stimulating hormone. You already know that these oocytes are arrested. I already told you that these oocyte cells start meiotic division, start producing ovum during the fetal life of a female. But as she born, the process of formation of ovum stops, and the process again restart when she reaches a particular age known as puberty age. And the first hormone gonna come in the development of this particular oocyte is the FSH. Okay, so FSH comes, and what gonna happen, this oocyte now again restarts the process of ovum formation. And what gonna thing happen over here is, this oocytes are get arrested, are get surrounded by the follicular cells. So this oocyte which again restarts the formation of ovum, it gets surrounded by the follicular cells. Is surrounded by the follicular cell, these follicular cells. So this oocytes gets surrounded by the follicular cells under the effect of which hormone? FSH hormone. So first hormone gonna come is the FSH for the development of the oocyte, so that it can resume the process of meiosis again, and can the formation of and lead to the formation of a ovum, right? So what gonna happen after that? So after FSH, another hormone comes into the picture, and that hormone is known as LH. LH stand for luteinizing hormone. Let's just not complicate the thing. Let's just understand it very easy way. What LH do? LH transforms the normal cell into a secretory cell. What does it mean? If LH hormone comes, it transforms a normal cell. Suppose this is a normal cell. It won't do much. It is not doing anything. But when LH is acting upon this particular cell, it gonna start secreting something. It gonna start releasing or secreting something, right? So this is the function of LH. Very simple. Luteinizing hormone. If you're not gonna remember that at your particular level, LH stand for luteinizing hormone. That's completely normal. But remember its function. It transforms the normal cell, this is the normal cell, into a secretory cell. That means the normal cell starts gonna secreting, start gonna releasing something chemical, right? So let me just erase that. And LH act on these follicular cells. Are you able to see the follicular cells which I have drawn in the blue? So LH act on these follicular cells, and these follicular cell definitely gonna release something, that definitely gonna secrete something, and that something is gonna store inside this particular structure, right? So let's just understand that. So in the center I have drawn the oocyte, which again I'm telling you restarts the process of ovum formation, right? And something is secreted inside this particular structure, and something this was secreted by these follicular cells, and follicular cells are secreting these under which hormone? Under which hormone? Yes, you're absolutely right. Follicular cells are secreting this particular substance, this particular chemical, in the under the influence of hormone LH. So this is the chemical which is produced by the follicular cell that have cell drawn in the blue. So the blue cells are acted upon by the LH hormone, and after acted upon by the LH hormone, it is start producing this particular chemical, and this particular chemical is storing inside this particular structure and also releasing from here. So this chemical is also releasing from here inside the blood, and this chemical is not other than the chemical, this is the estrogen. So this chemical is estrogen, very simple. So these stages that I have drawn over here is this, these are the stages of a follicle development. These are the stages of a follicle development. So these are the stages for the follicle development, and the developing follicle under the influence of hormone LH starts secreting another hormone which is known as estrogen. Very important hormone. We will definitely see the function of estrogen in a minute, but for now just remember these oocyte under the effect of several hormones that are coming from the pituitary gland are get surrounded by the follicular cells, and the developing follicle, then the developing follicle start releasing which hormone? Estrogen hormone. Now understand here, right? This is very important, critical point, right? We have already studied in the last video lecture, right? If the level of a particular hormone start rising in our body, in the blood itself, if the level of a particular hormone start rising in the blood itself, the level of other hormone will start declining. This is a very important point that we have already discussed in the last video, right? So understand over here, if the level of a particular hormone in our body is start increasing, then the level of another hormone will start declining. So what happened over here is, if the level of estrogen is increasing, right? Because the developing follicle starts secreting the estrogen level, estrogen hormone, and the hormone of estrogen inside the blood start increasing, right? As a result of it, the secretion of the LH and FSH decreases. Very simple. So estrogen level increases, as a result of it LH and FSH start declining, right? But after a short declining period, what does that mean? Estrogen level are increasing, you already know, because the developing follicle is forming the estrogen, the LH and FSH level drops, right? After that dropping period, a strange thing happened, a very strange thing happened. What happened is, you already know that estrogen level is continuously increasing, estrogen level are continuously increasing inside the female body, because this developing follicle start producing estrogen. A strange thing happened, along with the estrogen level, the level of LH and FSH hormone also increases. This is very strange thing. This is very strange thing that does not happen any other place in our body. But during the formation of ovum, in case of females inside the ovary, the level of estrogen increasing, and along with the level of estrogen increasing, the LH and FSH also increases, right? But the level of LH increases very rapidly. So level of LH also increasing very rapidly. Very strange event. The estrogen level are increasing, along with the LH level are also increasing. But before, what I told you, like estrogen level are increasing, as a result of it LH and FSH decreases. Yes, it does decrease for some times, but after some time the estrogen level increasing continuously, because the developing follicle start producing estrogen. Along with that, LH level also increases. And you already know what is the function of LH. In a short period of time, LH level is increases dramatically, drastically inside the female body. As a result of it, you already know the function of LH. It will help in the formation of a particular chemical inside it. So in a very short period of time, LH is present in more abundant, in more quantity inside the female. Hence, this structure you are overseeing over here is, this structure will start producing that chemical in very large quantity. What will gonna happen? What will gonna happen with that? So this structure will burst. So this structure you are seeing over here is, this structure will burst under which hormone? LH hormone. Listen carefully one more time. The estrogen level are increasing. As a result of it, LH and FSH level decreases for some times, but estrogen level are continuously increasing, right? So what gonna happen is, very strangely, the LH and FSH level start increasing. As a result of it, this structure start producing this chemical, which chemical? Estrogen chemical, very rapidly, because LH concentration is increases in a very short period of time. Very much concentration increases in very short period of time. As a result of it, this structure will start producing very large amount of this chemical as a result of it, and it is also storing inside it now. So the chemical is also stored inside it. As a result of it, this structure will burst. This structure will burst. And what will gonna happen after that? Let's see. So this structure will burst. As a result of it, outside the ovary, the ovum is released. Outside the ovary, the ovum is released, along with some cortical cells. So this structure is ovum, right? And this structure is formed under the influence of which hormone? LH hormone. Because in a short period of time, LH concentration increases. As a result of it, the blue color cells, the follicular cells, start producing the chemical in very large concentration and start storing inside it. As a result of it, the structure burst. And as a result of the bursting of this structure, the ovum is released from the ovary, and behind it a yellow color body is left, right? So this much structure is released in the form of ovum, and remaining part remains inside the ovary. Now this part that remains inside the ovary, very important, it's a yellow color body. That's why I have drawn in the yellow color, right? So it's a yellow color body. So its name is corpus luteum. Very important structure, corpus luteum. And what will gonna happen to that ovum? So this ovum will be captured by the fallopian tube and enter inside the fallopian tube. So this structure enter inside the fallopian tube, right? Now let's just focus our mind onto the corpus luteum. So this structure, corpus luteum, produces very large amount of another hormone related to the female reproductive system, that is progesterone. Right? So I just hope the picture up till now is pretty much clear to you. Let me give a recap for that. So what is happening inside the ovary? Many oocytes are present, and these oocytes are responsible for the formation of ovum. These oocytes is responsible for the formation of ovum by the process called meiosis. So here is meiosis, continuous process. Meiosis is continuing process, and meiosis lead to the formation of ovum. And other than these oocytes, other cells are also present inside the ovary, and these are the follicular cells. And under the effect of hormone FSH and LH, these oocytes and follicular cells starts developing. So these cells starts developing, and the developing follicle start releasing which hormone? Estrogen hormone. I already told you the estrogen hormone level are increasing inside the female body, inside the blood, and as a result of it, the LH and FSH level start decreasing, but for a very short period of time. After that, the increasing level of estrogen also stimulate the level of LH and FSH to drastically increase. As a result of which, predominantly, it is the effect of the predominantly LH. As a result of it, LH will lead to the busting of this structure. Busting of this structure. If you want to know what structure is it, so it's a mature follicle. It's a mature follicle, and it is known as Graafian follicle. It is known as Graafian follicle. The mature follicle is known as Graafian follicle, right? So the Graafian follicle burst. As a result of it, ovum is released from the ovary, and behind, a yellow color body is left within the ovary, and this yellow color body starts secreting which hormone? Progesterone hormone. And now the normal stuff, the level of progesterone increasing inside the body of a female, right? So as a result of it, the level of LH and FSH start declining, right? So very simple. So this yellow color body starts secreting progesterone. We will definitely see the function of a progesterone, and the level of progesterone increasing inside the body of a female. As a result of it, the LH and FSH level starts dropping, and as level of FSH and LH, very important, pay attention, and as the level of FSH and LH start declining, no more growth of these follicle will occur. So this process will stop. Right? Now let's come to the another part. What is the function of this estrogen and progesterone, and what will gonna happen to this egg? That we will gonna see right now. Okay, so now what is the function of this estrogen? Now just remember, right, within the female reproductive system, within the female reproductive system, there is another structure which is again the secondary sex organ. The primary sex organ are the ovaries, and the secondary sex organ, so secondary sex organ, it is known as uterus, the womb, right? So it's the uterus, and the uterus has three layers, predominant layer. So uterus has three layers: the outer layer, the inner layer, and middle layer, and the innermost layer. For now, just remember the name of the inner layer. The name of the inner layer is known as endometrium. So the name of the inner layer is known as endometrium. And very important thing, like estrogen hormone is responsible for the formation of this endometrium. So now you're gonna ask me question, why we need to form the endometrium? That I'll be gonna answer in just a minute, right? And so just remember this: the estrogen hormone is responsible for the formation of which layer? The innermost layer of the uterus, that is endometrium. And another hormone that you have studied today, the corpus luteum secretes, and that hormone is known as progesterone. And this hormone, very important function, this hormone maintains this endometrium. What is the meaning of maintain? What is the meaning of formation? Let's see that. Okay, so what happened every month after puberty? Every month after puberty, in case of females, the endometrium layer of uterus has to form every month. So it is formed newly every month. Why it has to form every month newly? Because in the hope for implantation. Now again, a very scary term, right? But it's not that much scary. Let's just understand that, right? So you have studied that this is the fallopian tube. So this is the fallopian tube, a very rough diagram. And fallopian tube, from the fallopian tube, uterus starts, and the innermost layer of the uterus is known as what? Yes, you are definitely right. So this is the endometrium. There are other layers too that we will see in the upcoming videos. So this is the endometrium, and we have just seen that a ovum is released, right? An ovum is released, and just suppose this ovum is fertilized by a sperm. This ovum gets fertilized by a sperm. Then you already know a single cell zygote will form. and that zygote, after developing for some times, comes inside the uterus, and it gets embedded inside the endometrium. And this process of embedding of this developing zygote inside the endometrium is known as implantation. Very important process, implantation. So for the purpose of implantation, the endometrium must be synthesized, right? So the endometrium is synthesized under which hormone? Yes, you are absolutely correct. Under which hormone? Estrogen. But for the maintenance of the endometrium, like endometrium must be there, always must be there, because now implantation has occurred, now 9-month pregnancy has established, so endometrium must be there. Another hormone is required, which is known as progesterone. Another hormone is required, which is known as progesterone. So I just hope it is now clear to you that every month the endometrium must be formed newly, and every month in the hope for the implantation. But we are talking about the no fertilization case. That means no sperm will come, no sexual activity has happened, and no sperm will come, and no fertilization will occur. So what will gonna happen to that endometrium? Let's see. Now you are already know that the LH hormone over here has like come in abundance quantity, and as a result of it, this mature follicle, also known as Graafian follicle, burst, and as the result of this bursting, ovum is released and a corpus luteum is formed, and that corpus luteum forms very large amount of which hormone? Progesterone hormone. And as the level of progesterone increases, the level of LH and FSH decreases. You already know that, right? Now the formation of corpus luteum is under which hormone? LH hormone. You must know that as a result of this hormone, LH hormone, corpus luteum is formed, and for the maintenance of corpus luteum, LH is required, but LH is not coming because corpus luteum is producing progesterone, and due to the increasing level of progesterone, LH and FSH are not there. Understand it like this, like for the formation of corpus luteum, which hormone is required? LH. And for the maintenance of corpus luteum, which hormone is required? LH. But LH is not coming because corpus luteum is producing progesterone, and LH and FSH is not there. So what gonna happen to that corpus luteum? This corpus luteum will survive only for the 7 days. This corpus luteum will survive only for the 7 days, and for that 7 days it will start producing which hormone? Progesterone hormone, right? So when fertilization is not occur, the sperm has not come, and no fertilization event is not occur, this ovum will die. This ovum will die because ovum can only survive for up to the 24 hours. So this ovum will die because no fertilization has taken place, no sperm is there, so no fertilization is gonna happen, and the ovum is gonna die. Now what will gonna happen to this corpus luteum? This will also die after the 7 days. So it will also die after the 7 days, and as it dies, the level of progesterone starts declining. So what will gonna happen if the level of progesterone start declining? This endometrium will shed off. Very simple, because the function, what is the function of the progesterone? It helps in the maintaining of this endometrium, but now no fertilization has occurred, so no implantation has occurred, right? So this ovum has already died. And after 7 days the corpus luteum will also die, and as the corpus luteum die, the level of progesterone starts declining, and if the level of progesterone start declining, this endometrium layer will now slack off and breaks, because progesterone is required for its maintenance, but now endometrium is not there, so it will slack off, it will break, all the blood vessels inside this layer are also breaks, and it start shedding off, right? And this shedded endometrium will start coming out from an opening of the female reproductive system known as vagina, as blood and tissue, and this dead ovum as well. So this will also come out, and this bleeding from the vagina every month take place. And in the no fertilization case, right, we will definitely see in the next video what will gonna happen if the egg is fertilized with the sperm. That's a different case. But if fertilization is not occurring, the corpus luteum will die. The corpus luteum will die and stop the production of progesterone. As a result of it, this endometrium would not maintain, it will slug off, it will break, and it will be shedded by the female reproductive system, and the blood, the tissue, and the dead ovum also comes out from the vagina, and this is known as periods or menses. And this gonna happen every month to the female who is not conceiving, who is not trying to conceiving, or who is not ready, who is not under the any sexual activity, right? Because in the no fertilization case, just remember this now, in the no fertilization case, the corpus luteum will die, the progesterone level decreasing, the endometrium slug off, and the endometrium along with the blood, along with the tissue, along with that ovum, dead ovum, comes out of the vagina, and this is known as menses. And every month is gonna takes place, right? So every month new endometrium is produced by under which hormone? Yes, estrogen. The endometrium must be maintained. The endometrium must be maintained by which hormone? Yes, progesterone. And if fertilization not take place, the corpus luteum will die. The corpus luteum will die, the progesterone level start decreasing, and if the progesterone level start decreasing, the endometrium will not be maintained and will again come out. So this gonna happen each and every month. So technically this is known as menstrual cycle. So you have studied in detail today about the menstrual cycle. It's a very natural process to the females, right? So what gonna happen every month? Every month inside the ovary, every month inside the ovary, in the summary part, right? So every month inside the ovary, new follicle start developing, new follicle start developing. We have seen that the red color cells are surrounded by the blue color cells, right? Under the effect of hormone FSH and LH, under the effect of hormone LH and FSH, and the developing follicle releases which hormone? Yes, you are absolutely correct, the estrogen hormone. This estrogen hormone is responsible for the formation of which layer of uterus? Endometrium. And the busting of this developed follicle, the busting of this developed follicle lead to the formation of ovum, which is released from the ovary, and another yellow color body which is known as corpus luteum. And this corpus luteum releases in a very large amount of progesterone hormone, and this progesterone hormone is responsible for the maintenance of which layer? Endometrium. Which layer? Endometrium. And if fertilization not takes place, this ovum dead, this corpus luteum after 7 days again dead, and the level of progesterone start decreasing, the endometrium slug off, and it comes out of the vagina. And again next month all these processes are repeated, right? So I just hope the part 2 video is pretty much clear to you now. So this is a very important part, because in the next part we will gonna see the fertilization case. What will happen if the fertilization occur? Does this corpus luteum will die at that in that case? But because if it dies, so after implantation, let's say the corpus luteum die after implantation has taken place over here in the endometrium, and the corpus luteum die, and the corpus luteum die, if the corpus luteum die, the progesterone level decreasing, and now if the progesterone level decreases, the endometrium will slug off along with the conception, along with the implanted embryo, and this is known as abortion. So I have a question for you, like find out which hormone, the level of which hormone are always high during the 9th month of pregnancy. Comment down in the video section below if you have understand anything from this particular video. So this is all about the part 2 of the human reproduction. So keep learning. We will see. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.